Relax, the keyboard is off and the press box is closed, but the mic is just getting warmed up. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Ink, the show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. Join your host, Lance Green, the guardian of the blue paint turned writer, and co-host SteelFlyers, as we bring you all the latest on the Philadelphia Flyers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hockey Writers Ink with your host, Mr. Lance Green. How are Mr. Green?
Well, still scratching my head, but like most Flyer fans, we were hit with a solid blow, and what was going to be our future. So we got some stuff to talk about for sure.
Holy smokes! I mean, did the world just explode the other day with this news, with everything that went on, and then and I wanted to wait until today to do this show because I wanted to wait for all of the
aftermath and everything to kind of die down and come out a little bit.
Yeah, like maybe we could get some truth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. Here we are, folks. The Hockey Writers Ink, a Philadelphia Flyers podcast that is solely about the Philadelphia Flyers. And the editor-in-chief of the SteelFlyers.com, sitting right here next to me, is Mr. Lance Green. And we are going to dive into this all the way through, up and down, left and right, and sideways, okay? We're on episode number 152, one that wants to be here and one that's gone. So let's focus on the gone first,
okay?
Because it's the biggest crack in this whole oatmeal or cornflake, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. The fact that organization and the other organization, being Anaheim and or any other organizations that were involved, did not say a this whole thing. And what is your first, your tweets and everything, but what's your first gut reaction to this news that dropped during the Pittsburgh game, which was laughable, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was baffled. We talked about the possibility of this being the case. I think I mentioned it quite a few shows ago, obviously at the start of before camp and all.
Yeah.
When he didn't want to come into camp this year, and he kind of refused to sign a pro deal, and refused to come into camp even this year. A top prospect that is North American that wasn't already playing overseas or something like that. He should have been in camp, right? And I kind of raised an eyebrow to that earlier on and said, man, maybe this kid doesn't want to be here because, I mean, you got to think about it. Yes. Was he going to go play for, Boston and stuff like that and in college and have an amazing group of individuals come in to play for him and probably compete this year, obviously, for a national championship with the roster they have? Yes. But in saying that, who in the right mind who has played all their life to get to this point to be an NHL star or NHL player, draft pick and everything like that, is going to turn down a professional contract to go back and potentially play a season where any game you step out on the ice that year, your career could be over, because guys are trying to make a name for themselves that aren't drafted and everything else that are playing in the NCAA and are going to be gunning for you because you're the biggest name out on the ice. You're a top 5 pick. So, that raised a lot of questions to me to begin with. But obviously, like the team said, everybody kept this hush hush. And in today's world of, the Twitters and the everything out there, the Snapchats and the TikToks and everything out there to get this information through. And wow, to keep it under wraps was amazing. But
I think Danny Briere had even in his press conference too, that he was giving props to the other organizations that were involved in this. Do you know what I mean? And so, all right, so your gut feel like, all right, you're kind of scratching your dome on this.
Yeah.
My initial gut reaction was, why 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 would you not want to be a Flyer? Something had to transpire, changed his mind. That, I mean, you're by the Flyers. You already know the history. If you don't know the history of the Philadelphia Flyers, shame on you.
Yeah.
Okay, especially if you're being drafted by this team. You know what I mean? But maybe he didn't even originally draft by this team. So if that's the case, then who drafted him?
Well, this is the thing, right? Now, Chuck Fletcher obviously drafted him, but Danny Briere was there. He was a special advisor at the time and was on stage
with him.
Was on stage, right? So this is the case. I don't think the Flyers didn't do their homework. Like I said in my mock draft back then, I think the Flyers should have drafted him. He was the best player available at that pick, and I thought he would go on to be one of the best players out of that draft. And he looks to be that, winning, the MVP of the World Juniors and all that. But, they did their homework. I think they did their homework. The guy told them, as Dana Briere said, that he was born to be a Flyer in pre-draft meetings with him. And he was looking forward to playing for the team and all that.
Yeah,
but then a couple of months removed from that, he comes out and says, hey, I don't want to be a Flyer anymore, and cuts off all communication. This kid has some balls, all right? To sit here.
That was your best New York accent too.
Listen, I mean, good. This kid, right, goes to Boston, has Stanley Cup winning guys like John LeClair and Patrick Sharp try to come up to Boston to talk to him, get up there, and he refuses to talk to him.
All right.
Then Keith Jones, a couple of weeks ago, Keith Jones and Danny Briere, both former NHL guys and respected across the whole NHL, go over to Sweden, fly all the way over to Sweden to talk to you at World Juniors, and you refuse to talk to them? You can't even give these guys a reason why you don't want to play for them, why you don't want to sign to them. Like, that is just crazy in my mind. Okay, obviously it happened, right? I mean, we got Eric Lindros from the Nordiques because he didn't want to play for him, but he told them that. They drafted him anyway.
Right.
They drafted him anyway because they thought they could get something else, better in the deal and all. But if you didn't want to play for the Flyers and you knew that from the beginning, you shouldn't have lied to him and said, oh, you were born to be a Flyer. Why? Something had to happen, Steel. Something had to happen.
All right.
And that may never come out.
Wait. Throw you here now. Breaking news. And I'm gonna throw some good shade here to Mr. Freeman, whom you and I both have a lot of respect for. To a
point.
To a point. The guy usually has pretty good, reliable information, at least.
Right.
Okay, so props to him for that. They had him on the NHL Network, and I'm going to give full props to Elliot Freeman right here, right on camera, and recording, whatever. He came out and said this about this situation. And you think about this makes a lot of sense. We've only heard bits and pieces from here and there and everywhere else. Now this is going to kind of come full circle here. So let me lay it on you, right? This is from Freeman, okay, NHL Network. During that time, he wanted to sign with the Philadelphia Flyers that March. And Danny Briere had a meeting with him saying, look, we'd love to do it, but we're about to get with a $1.8 million cap hit because our last year's salary cap was over the line, right? So we're going to be paying a here, and we don't have space. We would love to sign you, have cap space, and we don't want to waste an ELC on you. So why don't you stay one more year in college, right? And then you come out next year and blah, 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 we're good, right? This is what Elliot Freeman said. Now, let's step back from this for a second and look at this logically, right? You think about this for a second. That would have been the money that could have paid for Cutter, that $1.8 million that had to count against the cap for this year, okay, for the Flyers because of what they did the year previously, okay? Now, Cutter gets a bad taste in his mouth because he's told, we can't afford to sign you right now. Go back and play in college. Mm-hmm. If you're a 5th overall draft pick in the first round of the NHL draft, and the team comes to you and says, we don't sign you, but we just don't have the beans right now. If you go to college one more year, we'll sign you next year. He will play in the NHL that much. He probably could have, okay? But
yeah,
does that throw some into this? I think it throws a lot of wrinkle into this.
But in that instance, he should have said it right there and told him, look, I want to be traded then. I want to play this year. You know what I mean?
Instead of
not
stringing them
just
along.
Ghosted everything and stopped talks or whatever like that. Right. That should have ended the conversation right there if he wanted to play. To be honest, I don't think he was ready. I don't think he was ready to jump in
I don't either.
full time. He's not Connor Bernard. He wasn't ready right then to jump in and be an impact player in the end. He is right now. He is right now. I think he could sign immediately after this season and jump into a playoff race and help the team if the Flyers are still, in the playoff race. But I don't think he was at the time. I don't think he was at the time. And that's just being honest. And I think Danny Briere, if Danny Briere thought he was, he would have moved mountains to do that. And he tried to, obviously, with moving Provorov's contract and moving some other contracts. He was obviously dealt a crappy hand by a crappy hand by Chuck Fletcher, and he had to kind of maneuver through some stuff to be able to make the moves that he has already to be able to create the flexibility to make some moves that he's done. So anyway, the past is the past, right? He's gone. He doesn't want to be here. We got to move on. But in the same token, how much does that put the Flyers' choice, knowing that going into this last draft, how much does the pick of Michkov
sour you a little bit?
A little bit more, right? I think you're taking a chance anyway selecting Michkov, but at least you had Gauthier, right? You had a top 5 guy already. You had a guy that was progressing, looked pretty darn good. So you could swing for the fences and maybe, come away with this smelling like roses, right? But you already knew this, Danny. And you knew this guy said he didn't want to play for you. He wasn't even speaking to you or answering your phone calls. Your other top 5 pick that was supposed to be the face of your franchise already. And then you go out and take a Michkov that is obviously a choice that might not be here for 3 years, might not come at all, dealings with all the KHL and the war going on and all the mess with his father and, that's a lot of stuff that, I don't even want to get into right now. But obviously, that is a big swing for the fences there when this is on the back burner that you still can't get right. So I think that's in question too. Why wouldn't Danny go for a safer pick at that point?
More guaranteed pick, a more gonna help you now pick.
Right.
Okay. Lance, you know what? This is why you're the editor-in-chief. This is why you're the main man podcast, because I never even thought about that until you just brought that up. The fact that
you had Ryan Leonard on the board. You had,
Chris Stahl on the board.
Eddie Sale, Gabe Perreault on that board that's doing amazing things. There's so many names that you could have selected. Especially Ryan Leonard was my pick at that point. I think he was a guy that, Cutter Gauthier said he was born to be a Flyer, but I think Ryan Leonard was born to be a Flyer. And instead he's in Washington, a rival, and that we're going to have to face him a long time now. And Gabe's in New York, which we're going to have to face, a long time now. And
Chris Dahl is going to be somebody we're going to have to face too.
Yep. And I mean that, yeah, it's scary, and he's right in Washington too. So yeah, definitely scary move and sketchy in my mind, and thinking, what you had on the back burner, that you might lose Gauthier and might not be able to turn it around.
Yeah,
which they
at that point.
So,
you're on
that
the fence
was a
on that
risky
player.
move. That's got to be, I think, something that people aren't analyzing. Yes, is Mishkov playing lights out in the KHL? He's playing pretty darn good for a kid his age.
Well, that's great.
But
that's all great. Is he in North America?
For numerous years. He says he wants to come here, but is he going to be allowed to? Who knows? He's got 29 points in 34 games for Sochi this year. But let's talk now about what we're getting back. We know Gauthier's gone, and people are pissed, obviously, about that. But, we can't do a whole lot about it. If the kid doesn't want to be here, so be it, right?
Right.
Let's take a look at what we got. We got Jamie Drysdale back, a defenseman, a right-hand shot defenseman, who was drafted in 2026 overall by the Anaheim Ducks. Now, Drysdale, a quarterback of the power play, in juniors and everything, with the Erie Otters, was a point per game pretty much player, on the back end, a playmaker more than he is a shooter, definitely in the NHL, clear number one NHL defenseman,
a plus player,
potential, when he was drafted. Okay. He's signed to a $2.3 million deal, that is good through 25-26. So a good deal for such a young kid that, is still only 21 years old. So we're getting a guy who is, really just coming in, won a World Junior Championship gold medal, and a silver medal as well. Captain the Helinki Gretzky Cup, all good things, right? But let's talk about some things here. There's a reason why the Ducks gave him up, right? And used him as a part of this. Obviously, to get Gauthier was a thing. They have great defensive depth on the Ducks. A lot of guys in the system already. Jamie Drysdale is a young kid who's still aspiring to be, everyday NHLer player. I think he is, when he's healthy. He's 21 years old. He's already missed over 100 NHL games. That's kind of scary, folks.
And he's only played in 132 games.
Right. He's played in 123. Has 8 goals, 37 assists for 45 points. He's a minus 43 in his NHL career. Was a plus player. Was a plus player in juniors. I never think he has got it going in the NHL yet. He's come back from injury yet again this season. He's played 10 games so far with the Ducks. He has 1 goal, 4 assists for 5 points. Is a -2 on the season. He's averaging over 20 plus 21 minutes a game right now. He's due to be in the lineup tonight against Montreal.
Really?
Yep. That's what they said. Will make his Flyers debut tonight. I don't know who he's going to be playing with. Some think that he'll be lined up with Sanheim on the first pairing. I think that's a lot to ask, being that he's only been running through 1 practice with the Flyers, or potentially 2 practices if they had something this morning with the Flyers to learn our systems is a little much. He is a great guy in the locker room. Everybody talks about, his personality and everything like that is a go. I think he's pretty good friends with Cam York.
He said that in his conference that he was good friends with Cam York, and
Yep.
he's been training with Frost, what he called him, and he also played with Nick
Yep. So interesting,
Delore. So
interesting stuff. I think Delore is out of the lineup tonight, from what I hear. Sam Erson's in net. Um, so, you know, the Flyers made the best of a bad situation here. They got a young kid that has the potential to be a top pairing defenseman. Still very young, 21 years of age, just budding his way into the NHL still. Looks to have great stuff when he's in the lineup, but can he stay in the lineup? I don't know. He's still 5'11" and 185 pounds. He's undersized.
and he doesn't play a big game.
Doesn't play a huge game. No, he's not very physical. Puck moving guy, can skate pretty well, playmaker, and all that. So we're going to have to see, right? And the Flyers also got a second round pick in 2025 with that coming back. So that's some assurance.
But here's the thing. The thing about this whole trade and this whole situation, no matter what it is or how you slice it, okay, it is what it is. Okay, frankly, I give huge props to Danny Briere and this organization, the ownership, to Keith Jones, and then also props to Anaheim all day long for keeping a lid on this, for protecting this particular player in case he changes his mind.
Right.
Okay. So, all right. So all things considered, everybody made out and everybody's quote happy. Okay. Now, we have a player, the Philadelphia Flyers have a player that's going to come and impact this team right now, tonight.
Right.
Okay. Not in March, not at the end of the college season or the end of the front or any of the other stuff, right now.
Right.
Okay. Get this kid in the seat. This is another thing too that we talked about 2 years ago about why to the trade deadline, do your moves when you need to do your moves. So now you got a guy who's going to play in our system for the rest of the season and not just come in for those last 15 games or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Why wait to the trade deadline? Why not do those moves now? I mean, I think that they did the move with TA because his stock at its highest.
It'll never be a higher, yeah.
So they did the best thing they could with when they could do it. You know what I mean? And so I'm kind of excited about this, if you must know the truth. Okay? The only person that I don't want to see is Zamula.
Yeah, I don't want that to affect Zamula. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, but
where we go.
Where are you gonna put him with? I don't mind him with Sam, but to be honest with you, I would much rather put him with maybe Sealer. Or Walker first?
Walker's with Cam York. Obviously another young guy. Sanheim is still pretty young in himself. We think he's younger than he is. He's been in the NHL for quite a while now. So he is a veteran at this point.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? So
maybe putting him with Sanheim.
I don't think it's as bad as it first appears when you hear it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You hear like, oh, he's with Sanheim. We think Sanheim's only been here for like a year or two. He's been here quite a few years now. He's a veteran that started out just like Jamie and just like Cam York, very young, and had some success and all that at a young age. So he's a veteran around there now. And Steelers, possibly going to be playing with Ristolainen. I like that they don't push him up. I don't know, where Zamula fits in. I think I would move Nick Sealer or Risto out and have a very young, defensive core there and see what they can do.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
And continue to build upon that.
Yeah.
I like Nick Sealer. I would
sit
Ristolainen out. I would take Ristolainen out for a couple of games, and let Zamula play with Nick Seeler, who can play either side, so you can kind of flex him around a little bit.
Well, that's thought it would be a better idea to put Seeler first, maybe for his first couple of shifts,
right?
Maybe for this game. Do you know what I mean? Just so that he could have somebody who, it doesn't matter what side he plays, he's going to be still okay.
I think they're going to want to show him off. I think they're going to want to show him off in Drysdale. I think they want him to get the ice time and to let the Flyers fans know that, hey, yes, this sucks. We lost Gauthier, but look at this guy right here. He's playing top line minutes today. And
like I said,
see what he can do.
Like I said, this that is going to be able to impact the team right now. So they're going to be.
He's going to impact it if he plays with Sanheim, because Sanheim will go if he can. He will go, and he will take that puck up and be in the offense. And Drysdale will get it to him for sure.
I'm with you.
He is a playmaker, so I think that pairing might work out. And it's somebody that has proven that he can eat the minutes up a little bit and not hurt you overly. And he's 21 years old, so I think that the Flyers made the best of this. I don't want to take too much of your guys' time up tonight. I know the Flyers game is on and everything like that, so. I think we'll leave it at here, Steel, and let's just see where this takes us. I like the deal that they got. Hopefully the kid can stay healthy. Hopefully we don't have another Ryan on our hands. That's a different story. He's well into his career already, and had a lot of injuries over that time. So this kid's young. He's 21 years old. He's had some injuries, but
if he can stay healthy.
Now he's going to get conditioning. He's going to get healthy. He's getting NHL trainers trying to bulk him up, and I think the best hockey's ahead of him still. Let's be hopeful about this. It was a bad situation, but let's try to move on and make the most of it. And I'm just interested to see how this game goes tonight, Steel.
For sure, I am too. I'm like I said, I'm excited about this. I'm about what this young player can bring to this team. Look, we all know that defensemen take a couple years to develop. Right. Okay. And when you can get a defenseman that can come to your team right now and be an impact player right now at this age, okay. I mean, this is what they all expected out of Sanheim. This is what, and then finally now we got it this year out of Sanheim. Right. Do you know what I mean? So I'm warming to the idea, to be honest with you, of him playing with Sanheim. So I'm okay with that, and we'll see how this goes. Look. The Flyers are 3-4-3 in their last 10 games. And folks, just ain't getting it done. Okay? Everybody knows that this team was going to lose some games. The coach said they were going to lose games. Everybody else said they were going to lose games. Look, they're losing games. But this would be a great opportunity for this team to start turning it around with a young defenseman injected into the lineup here, based off of this trade, who is the type of talent that this guy potentially can be. So I'm with you. I say we leave it at here, short and sweet. We just post this reaction because I wanted to let everyone down for a minute and let everybody get their wherever they needed to go. But I wanted to bring out some truth. I wanted to bring out some facts. I'm not saying that everybody else isn't doing that. Right. I'm just saying that this is what we wanted to do, guys, so that you guys understand kind of where we're coming from, where the Flyers are from, okay? Because they did make the best of a bad situation. They did everything they possibly to accommodate for this player, and he still turned them out. So they traded him, got something good for him. Look, we're all disappointed that we're not going to get to see Cutter wear orange and black because of what we've seen from him so far. Mm-hmm. I like what Failty said, you know what? He said, I feel sorry for Cutter. Well, actually, no, I don't. I actually feel bad for him because he's going to have to come in here to Philadelphia and play. And as far as I'm concerned, it should not be when he comes here to play in Philadelphia.
Well, he was walking around today, I think, shaking hands in with the fans and stuff at practice or possibly yesterday. Man, where do you see a person of that magnitude of the team, walking around, and that's Ed Snyder-esque right there. You know what I mean? This guy cares about this team, and
I know.
they're working through a lot of things. They made a lot of changes, and he wants this team to be as good as it can be. He's passionate about this team, and that's refreshing to see as well. And one more note, and then we'll shut it. We'll call it quits. Danny Briere also said, and Keith Jones also said, they want to build from the back end, and you got to think they got Jamie Drysdale, a top 6 overall pick, 21 years old. They got multiple guys back for the defense with Ivan Provorov. Of course, another prospect in that on the defensives being Helgi Grans. So they're building what they want to do. Their goaltending is solidifying. Slow but sure, with Arison coming up, and the other guys that they drafted are looking pretty darn good in the back end too. So they're building from the back end out, and Cutter Gauthier is going to hurt, but
we got that. Bonk is on the horizon.
He's a couple of years away, but he's promising.
On the horizon.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Just what you said, building from the back end out. Okay. Yep. He got goalies and defensemen and a couple of forwards in this last draft. This coming draft is going to be real heavy in the defenseman side. Okay. So you're going to have an opportunity to get a defenseman in this draft too. So what, man? Lance, do you got anything in the works, buddy?
Yeah, I was just working on a Flyers article kind of around this same token, but of course in more in depth and kind of pointing out a few aspects that we need to take a look at, like the Mishkov thing, but also kicking around some Eagles ideas as well. So that's something as well.
Yeah, man, for sure. By the way, in the very coming near future, we're going to be having some expanded content on the website. We'll also be having some other expanded content else too. So be looking forward to some cool stuff here in the very, very near future here from the SteelFlyers All Sports Network. So it's something, man, I'm excited about what we got in store for you guys here, man. Some great little things. We're going to have some cool stuff for you guys to check out. So I can't wait for some of that stuff to roll. And Lance and I are putting together good stuff for you guys. I can't wait. So be sure to go to the SteelFlyers.com website, check out the Prospect Watch Show. Also check out Hockey Writers Ink Show and the SteelFlyers Podcast Show. Lance, why don't you tell we can get you, where we can find you?
Yes, sir. You can catch all the stuff, of course, on SteelFlyers.com. And, catch me on X at Lance.Green39.
And or all the Facebook pages all the Flyers groups.
Phillies groups. Yeah.
Phillies
going to be hitting
and
some Eagles groups. Really trying to spread my wings there. And,
literally. Maybe better than the Eagles.
Yeah. Going to try to give some ideas on how they can fix that problem there too. So
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because well, anyway.
Yeah. That's a whole nother. Yeah.
That's a whole. No. I'm SteelFlyers. You can catch me on the X Flyers 52. You can also catch all the great work from all the great contributions from everybody at SteelFlyers Sports Network at SteelFlyers.com. Go check that out. Also, big props to Spreaker for all their help in getting us to all the podcasting platforms out there. Really appreciate that as well, too. Thank you out there for listening and for subscribing and hitting that like button and coming to the site and clicking on the articles and clicking on the videos. Thank you guys for all that you do to help support us. So we really appreciate that. We'll catch you guys all on the next episode of Hockey Writers Ink, man. We'll check you later.